You're listening to Inside Real Estate with Irv Tremblay on Newstalk 980.
Welcome back, Irv. Thanks for holding over the break. Much appreciated.
No problem, Dave.
We're talking about for sale by owners today, and I wanted to run through just before we tell the story, because I promised this story, so I want to get the story in. But it's the common challenges that face for sale by owners. There's kind of a standard list, and there's a handful of things that really become a concern for sale by owners, whether they realize it or not.
Well, I don't think they realize hardly any of these, and we have that exposure. And when I talk about exposure, I talk about exposure to the best buyers, to now buyers, not buyers 3 months down the road or 2 months down the road or 6 months down the road. So exposure to the best buyers and how you get to them and how you create demand for your house with those buyers. You can create all the demand if you want, but if the buyer isn't a now buyer, that doesn't help at all. So you have to create that demand, and you do that by exposure, and you have to get to the right buyers, and those buyers typically are with agents, and you have to get those agents to bring their buyers to your house. And there's a couple myths about that, and I'll give you an example this week. And then you have, of course, you have all kinds of bargain hunters that don't help you get top dollar. Mm-hmm. And you have liability and negotiating. And people don't talk very much about liability and negotiating. So all of those issues can cost a for sale by owner money, and the top agents solve all of those issues or can solve them. And by paying them, they make you money.
Let's talk a bit about the demand, because this kind of leads into the story that we were chatting about before we came on the air. And I wanted to get this story on the air about creating demand and how top agents can do that. Number one, because of the exposure to the pool of qualified buyers that they have, because of their experience, and because it's not their first time to the dance. They've done this before.
So let's give you an example that I think will cover all 5 issues. The exposure, getting to the buyers, the negotiating, and the reducing liability, and no bargain hunters. Let's just cover it all at once with one example. So I get a call from a person wanting to sell their property for the family. And the house is vacant, and so they call me out, and they're not interviewing anybody else. I believe they do listen to me on the radio show and knew my name. So I go out, I meet with the family, I say, okay, here's what you need to do to make the house more saleable. When will you be ready? They tell me when they will be ready. I set up for pictures for the property, and we talk about price. They understand the market. We talk about commission. We understand where we should be in commission. And then they're going to be ready in about a week and a half. Now, my job isn't just to sit back and wait for that week and a half. I want to create that demand the moment that house is listed. And so many agents don't do this. They just don't do this. And I love doing it because people love it when you do it for them, and they tell 10 people, and I get more phone calls. So, and it feels good. It really does. So they were going to be ready in a week, and I continually, when I'm doing my follow-up and other showings, we're talking to agents about this great house that's going to come on the market this day, and it's priced well, it's a one owner, it's structurally good, it's across from a park, and it's going to sell in a day. That's what I tell them. It's going to sell in a day, and I mean it. And so I said, you better get your buyers in there. That's creating demand. Now tell me how a for sale by owner can do that. They're going to call up the agents, and that's where the best buyers are. Well, how can they do that? And I'll welcome calls from for sale by owners if they can tell me how they can create the demand I can create. So the property comes on the market beginning of this week. The first day on the market, I get an offer that evening. And of course, the agent wants to push to get this offer through. It's a full price offer. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Has a few conditions: building inspection, furnace inspection, subject to financing. I have set this up because I knew I was creating demand that all offers a requirement, must be left open 24 hours.
And we've talked about this previously.
We're maybe not going to exercise it, and I still get questions from agents. Yeah, how come you got 24 hours on there? Well, don't they understand? I'm trying to protect my seller. If you give us the greatest offer in the world, we'll sign it in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So we got 24 hours on there. Agent sends me the offer. I follow up on another showing. That agent's going to write an offer. I get permission from my seller to tell both agents they're competing. Second offer comes in at full price. Got 2 full price offers. So I had phoned the first agent and said, you know, you are competing. Well, they write another offer, $4,000 or $5,000 more than full price. Now this is all within 13, 14 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's creating demand. So both offers have to be open until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So most agents, they got 2 offers. One's full price, the other one's more than full price.
Let's call her a day.
Ka-ching, let's just count up that commission and it's all done, right? So I get my staff, and I have staff, and that's an advantage to if you're a seller, to download the lockbox. I call all the other 5 agents and tell them I got offers.
There's a record on the lockbox of the agents that have come and viewed the property with the
Yeah,
client.
it's a vacant house. This is at 2 o'clock now. I have an hour before we have to accept one of these offers. I'm on the phone. Most agents will not do this. This is what top agents do. I'm on the phone. I get another agent to phone their client because they were interested. And I said, you know, you should phone them. It's a great house. They're going to miss this house. I got 2 offers. 20 to 3 sends me an offer. $2,000 less than the highest offer. But this agent, again, good agent, no conditions. Sign it, it's sold, great possession date, great deposit, 0 conditions. I said to my seller, a sharp agent should come in when they're competing, probably, if their buyer will risk what's the worst that could be wrong with this house, not doing these inspections, and they are pre-qualified, they will get the deal. So they write about $2,000 less than the highest offer, no conditions, it's sold. They lose their deposit if they back out, great deposit, quick possession. Again, I want to challenge any for sale by owner that can create that demand, and we did it. So that's why I love calling, you know, buyers and sellers, and these are the interesting things in real estate.
I do want to give up the website address again here too, www.irvsells.ca. Great resource. I've said it before. It's a fantastic resource for buyers, sellers, and agents. irvsells.ca. Also online at YouTube. You can see this program there as well. Your chance to turn the key with Irv Tremblay. Irv, before we wrap up here, I want to sneak in one more story.
Okay.
This is, and we've only got literally 60 seconds.
Okay.
I hear you went to an open house.
I went to an open house. Most painful thing since I had a root canal. So I went for an interview, and the interview was supposed to be at 4 o'clock, 4:30. Guy rings the doorbell. Here,
And
I'm
this
open.
is a for sale by owner.
Oh, yeah.
Having an open house.
I'm here for the open house. Oh, and this guy, couldn't get rid of him, and he wasn't even the buyer, and he clomped through the house and couldn't get rid of him. So we finally sat down at the table. And I told you at the beginning of the show, all for sale by owners are looking for value and advertising for an agent until they find one that they see value in. The lady sits down at the table and she says to me, am I ever glad I spent that $600 and hired a for sale by owner website? I'm thinking, why? You got this guy wandering through on the open house. And I says, well, why is that? Because by me putting this house on the website, you found me. Where do we sign the listing?
She could have just called.
Well, she could have called.
If you want to call, it's not a problem. The number is 790-3753. That's how you get in touch with Irv. 790-3753. Also, the website. Again, take a look, www.irvsells.ca.
And you don't have to spend the $600 in the private website. Just call me.
Exactly.
Right.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate. Turn the key with Irv Tremblay from Century 21.
On Newstalk 980.